Hello and welcome to this video overview of Heist, the Great Jewelry Caper. This game was the second game I made for a local game jam with the theme of Heist. It was a 12-hour game jam. This game, you are robbers that have all tried to hit the same jewelry store at the same time, which is kind of weird. But the idea is it's a hidden movement game. Everybody has the board in the middle of the table, and they have their own little sheet, which they're going to keep hidden from other players to mark down where they are moving. So nobody knows quite where everybody else is. The point of the game is to steal as much jewelry as possible from these jewelry cases, which are the thick black outlined cases around the board. There's three types of jewelry cases. There's blue, there's green, and there is gold back here. There's also these guards that are going to be wandering around. I've just repurposed some of my little minion miniatures, but as you can see, they have a bit of a facing. So all guards have a facing, and they are pointing in at one of the corners of the hexes they're in. By the way, a space is a hex in this game. So, how do you take a turn? On your turn, you do three things. First thing you do is you move. So all players start the game at one of these two locations. They can decide which one they start at. They draw a little circle, and then they move three spaces, which, like I said, are the hexes. So they can move 1, 2, 3, or 1, 2, 3, anything they like. And then once they've finished moving three spaces, they draw a little circle. The next thing they have to do is they have to announce what anything that they have done, which needs to be announced. So if they have moved over a case, so for example, if they've moved over one of these blue cases, they have to say, I have set off a blue alarm, because this case is blue. If they've moved over a green case, they have to say, I have set off a green alarm. And then if they've moved over this gold case, it's a gold alarm. Pretty simple. Cases can only have their alarm set off once. So if you moved over a blue case, you say, I've set off a blue alarm. And then if you go all the way around the map and then come across this blue case again, you do not need to say that you've set off that alarm again, because this alarm of this case has already been set off. Each player can set off the same alarm once each. So if one player wanders over this case and then another player wanders over this case later, this alarm can be set off multiple times. But each player can only set off a case's alarm once. When you set off an alarm, you also add a token to the board, called an alarm token. When 5 of these tokens are added to the board, 2 more guards come in back here. And when at that point, you remove all the tokens. When 5 more tokens are added again, 2 more guards come in down here. And again, the alarm tokens are removed. At that point, alarm tokens are basically not added anymore. People just continuously say which alarms they have set off until the end of the game. So that's the first thing that you need to announce during your turn. The second thing you need to announce during your turn is if you've moved across a guard's line of sight. Now, a guard's line of sight are the 2 spaces adjacent to the corner that they're pointing at, and the 3 spaces beyond that. So this guard is pointing this direction, so they can see these 2 spaces in front of them and these 3 spaces beyond. If a guard has one of the 2 closer spaces blocked off, so for example, he cannot see through this space. He can see this space, but he can't see through it, so he cannot see this space back here. But he can see these 3 spaces perfectly fine. So this guard can see these 4 spaces. If he has both his front 2 spaces kind of covered by something, then he can't see any of the back 3 spaces at all. It's simple as that. If you move across a guard's line of sight, then you have to announce, I have been here, or I am here. So if you have moved 1, 2, 3, then this player would have to announce, I have been here, because that's within a line of sight of a guard. However, if they moved 1, 2, 3, then they would have to say, I am here, because this is the line of sight of the guard, and they stopped here. So they have to keep that in mind. After they have made any relevant announcements, they have to move a guard 3 spaces, or up to 3 spaces. It's the same when a player moves. You can move up to 3 spaces. You do not have to move 3 spaces exactly. Normally you'd want to move 3 spaces though, because the more you move, the better stuff you get normally. So when you move a guard 3 spaces, you could move them like 1, 2, 3, and then change their facing. After you've moved them and changed their facing, they now have a new cone of vision. If there is another player in that cone of vision, then that player needs to say, I am seen. And they also have to say, I am seen wherever they are. So say someone was here, they have to say, I am seen here. Simple as that. The other thing is, if guard lands on a player, the guard catches that player. The player puts an X on their sheet, and if they get 3 X's, they are out of the game. They are done. They've been caught entirely. They have been arrested. Otherwise, if they haven't reached their 3rd X yet, they move 3 spaces, make any notifications that announcements that they need to. So if they set off more alarms, they have to say so. And if they have moved through guards' visions, they have to also say so. And then the turn order goes back to the normal. It goes back to normal. So if it was my turn, and then I caught the player on my right, they would take their free 3 spaces and do any announcements, and then it would go back to the player on my left because they would be the next in turn order. It's as simple as that. After a few rounds of this, the few people will have been caught. The people are running around trying to break into these cases, move over these spaces, which is what you're trying to do. You're trying to move over as many of these spaces as possible to get as many points as possible. And then once you feel like you've got enough, you have to make it to an exit to actually score. If you've been captured, you score nothing for the jewelry cases you have broken into. So quickly to explain scoring. So when you're drawing your line, for any blue or green space you move over, you score 1 point for blue spaces and 2 points for green spaces. So if I was to go 1, 2, 3, I would get 2 points for the 2 blue spaces I moved over. However, if I was to go 1, 2, 3, I would get 4 points because each of these green spaces are worth 2. If I go over any of the gold spaces, it doesn't matter how many I go over, I will get 5 points. So if I was to go 1, 2, 3, I would get 5 points. But if I was to go 1, 2, 3, I get 5 points. I just need to clip the gold case to get the 5 points that are precious and are quite important to winning the game normally. Also tells everybody where you are because there's only one gold case on the map. Just to let everybody know. Is there anything I missed? I think that's everything. Oh yeah, the movement. Any player or guard can move 3 spaces through any objects, whatever. Just they're not allowed to move through solid black spaces. You're not allowed to move through these black spaces at the edge of the map. You're not allowed to move through these columns. Oh, and players are not allowed to move through guards. They have to go around them. That's pretty much it. The best way to kind of explain how this game works, though, is usually to show other people how other people have played. So this is a little collection of how people have played when I've been playtesting it. As you can see, there's quite a few of them here. And this isn't even all of them. Some people like taking them away as well. So this is one of the games I was playing. As you can see, this player, I believe, is the one that won. So they went around here, they went over this green space, they kind of went over here, they kind of went around, they decided they want to go around here, they decided they had to turn around and go back, hit this gold case around here. Their guards was chasing them pretty heavily right now, so they were running around all over the place, trying to make sure they didn't get caught, and I managed to escape at the end here. And then it got caught twice, so they managed to escape with it says 28, but I think it's 31 points they got in the end here. Meanwhile, I was doing roughly the same thing. However, I came in here and then ran around. And then when I hit the gold case, everyone was after me. So I was like, oh god, what am I going to do? Run around, run away, run away, run away, run away. I got caught here and then ran away and then got caught immediately again. So I ran into this corner and hid here for a couple of turns and then kind of followed this wall to the exit. And I got 24 points for this. You can see I've got 2 catches here. So this game is quite tense when playing. and is quite entertaining. Like it's hard to explain how you feel when playing this game. So if you want to give it a go, I'm thinking about putting a print and play version of it up somewhere. Check out the description for that. If I have put it up somewhere, you can find it there. Also, as a side note, this game won that game jam. This is the competition winner, which was quite nice, and I got this nice little trophy here with the Wrench Games logo in it. And the Wrench Games was the guys that were running the competition. You can see their logo floating in this. This is just a marmalade jar with some stickers and a little logo stuck into it. I kind of like it though because it's quite a nice trophy for this little game. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video overview of Heist, the Great Jewel Caper, and I'll catch you next time. Later.